We were on our way to the hospital at this time when I got to thinking about the Greek language. People ask me all the time, what version or translation do you use? And I always try to tell them that I like to use the Greek original. And so I have a testament that I picked up in Malawi that was put out in Germany. It has the Greek language on one side and the Latin Vulgate on the other. So when I open that, I have the scriptures in the two oldest versions of it. That is the Greek original, and then the first translation that was ever made of the Greek original was the Latin Vulgate. So those are the two that I look at when I'm studying, and I learn many things from the original at times that are lost in translations. And one of those recently was where the Apostle John is writing his apocalypse in the 6th chapter, and I think it's the 9th verse. It says, the martyrs under the altar cried with a loud voice, O long, holy and true Lord, dost thou not avenge our blood on them that dwell upon the earth? And the word Lord there is a different word used in the Greek. The normal word for Lord in the Greek is kurios, and it wasn't kurios that was used there by the Holy Spirit, nor was it the Greek word for God, theos, that was not used either, nor Christos, which is the word for Christ, the Anointed One. But it was the Greek word despotes, and that's where translations fail, because the translation of the Greek word despotes must be different from the word Lord or God, because those two words are not used by the Holy Spirit in this passage. So that shows you the importance of being able to read the original language that the Holy Spirit used when he was given the scriptures to this world. So we have to recognize that all versions are translations of the original. The original New Testament was not given in King James English or any other language, not even in the Latin Vulgate. It was given in the Greek language. That's the language the Holy Spirit used when he inspired the Apostle Paul to write the Apocalypse and his other letters and gospel. And that's very, very important to recognize, because the word despotes carries with it an ominous warning that God is more than just a God of love, as many people preach today. God is also a God of holiness, justice, and righteousness. And his righteousness is going to prevail at the end. So when these men are crying out, they're under the altar. In other words, the great day of grace has ended, and the day of judgment is now being brought in, and the person who is going to render that vindication and judgment is the despotes, the divine despot, which speaks more to the justice that the Lord is going to mete out after the day of grace is over. So when the day of grace is over, then the day of vindication and of judgment is brought in. And we see that carried out at the very end of this chapter, in chapter 6 of the book of Revelation, where he talks about the divine despot. Then he says later, and the chief men and the chief bondmen and all the servants and all shall cry out there for the rocks and hills to fall upon them, and to hide them from the face of him that sits upon the throne, that is the divine despot, to hide them from his face, because the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand?